Halima, can we start?
Yes, sir. Yes, Pauline.
Good evening to one and all present here. We have assembled here for the third session of day one of the International Conference. Here is with us the most legendary and globally celebrated psychologist and psychotherapist from Duisburg, Germany. In 1980, he created history by discovering humanistic psychodrama, a therapeutic method which helps millions revitalize their lives. He was awarded with a doctorate for his work on the causation factors of dyslexia. He is one of the brilliant researchers in the field of psychodrama and is a member of American Society of Group Psychotherapy and Psychodrama, International Association of Group Psychotherapy and Psychodrama, and the American Psychological Association. He established the Psychotherapeutische Institut Burgerhausen in Kirpen and Duisburg, Germany, which trains a huge count of budding psychotherapists. He had served as a professor in clinical psychology and psychodrama in many European and Russian institutions. He had won multiple awards for being the honorary professor of the universities in Kostroma and Russia. In 2011, he was proclaimed as the director of International Center for Clinical Psychology and Psychotherapy, ICCPP, at the Governmental University in Kostroma. Through his extraordinary achievements, he had brought in a revolutionary transformation in the field of psychotherapy. Let's welcome our guest for today, Dr. Hans-Werner Gessmann from Germany.
Thank you very much. I greet you and hope that I can tell something interesting about the humanist and the use of special methods supervision work. It was in 1973 when I came in contact with the classical psychodrama, and I met an American professor who came to Germany, and this professor was a student of Jacob Levi Moreno, who started to teach classical psychodrama. Jacob Levi Moreno was a psychiatrist, Austrian psychiatrist, and he started to work with role-playing with patients, and he had a lot of experiences, but from the point of view from today, we think it is not really a scientific therapy what he did. It was more than the theater playing, and that of course helps a lot of people to overcome problems and to get more free and to feel more spontaneous. This American professor came to Germany to teach German psychologists in psychodrama in the year when Jacob Levi Moreno died. And so I started to work together with her, and because she wanted to teach a lot of people in European countries, she was traveling around, and I became her assistant, and I traveled with her in many European countries. So in about 1980, I was a little irritated about special methods of the classical psychodrama. I got a bigger distance to playing theater and to do role playing with spontaneity theater and spontaneous role playings, and I started to integrate it more in the European idea about psychotherapy. So, in the following years, there were a lot of psychodramatists taught in this new, different methods of psychodrama, and therefore, when they started to work with it with patients, clients, we had to give them support, and we did that by supervision. They were working in their practice and they came together very often in smaller groups at the weekend, and these meetings were conducted also by psychodrama methods, but the main topic was what they are doing with the clients, and when they had problems and didn't really exactly knew what to do with the clients. So we discussed it and made also role playing about these situations. And that means the supervision with psychodramatic methods were a part of the training program. And I can tell you this training program was about 200 hours in the basic training, and we had about 40 hours supervision during that time. So, meeting was that each person in the group, 1 second please, we were meeting in the group, and then each person, each therapist spoke about a special case and presented it to the group. And when all people presented their cases, one case was selected by the group members, and we went on to work about this special case. The protagonist was the therapist who was working with his clients, and he started to reconstruct the situation by using the group members as so-called auxiliary egos. They played the role of the clients, and because they didn't know the situation, the therapist himself had to show them what they had to do and what they had to say. So all was out of the view of the therapist's view, and all people did what he told them. So we had a special situation about the case, not reality, but the reality of the therapist. And then all other group members had the possibility to come into the scene and double each person who was playing there. Double means behave in the same way and talking to the main person as this person was himself. So you can imagine it is like a version of counseling, but concentrated on that was the main person was playing and was telling about. So we had a lot of changings in the scene, a lot of input from the group members, and we got a lot of material, so that after about half an hour, we could finish this scene and then we could have discussion about all what happened, and all group members could give feedback about their own experience, and they could also make a role reversal with the therapist who was leading this scene, and could give him feedback about their own experiences during the action phase. So at the end, the therapist, who was the main person in the group, could tell about his own feelings and what he was thinking about, but he didn't defend his own behavior during the session. He only got information what other people think about it. So we had a break and then we started again with the next session. Next therapist explained and produced his scene about what he was doing in the reality with the clients. So that very short. Lot of methods are possible. We could work, for example, making statues in the group about the situation, and we could make short interviews in smaller groups, and we could have working with materials, drawing pictures about what their experience was, or had a lot of different creative methods, and so whole session was about 2.5 hours, and then we had a break. So I would like to use the possibility that you can ask me questions, and I will answer to that. The possibility that you can ask me question.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, sir. Can you just explain me how psychodrama impacts the brain, the positivities and all?
Can you ask again, please?
My question is, what are the possible positive impacts that psychodrama influences the brains?
The main point is that you get a new experience working about the scene by action. It is not only talking about the scene, talking about the problem, talking about what the therapist is doing, but you get experience by by behavior, by action, and that means that your whole personality, whole body is involved in the procedure.
Danke, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
So could you please suggest few of the international courses or any certificate courses on psychodrama or any related courses on psychodrama which students can take it up? Short-term courses or any certificate or long-term courses.
You find a lot of psychodrama seminars, especially in India, but to become a therapist, you need to know a lot about the methods and you know a lot about diagnosis, and it is not only just plain theater. And so very often I have little fear about the psychodrama trainings, which are for very short time, 1 weekend or 2 days or 3 days, and then people think they can treat patients with psychodrama. And in reality, a psychodrama session for therapy takes a longer time. It is not only two days or 2 hours. Usually the therapy group doing psychodrama is meeting for 1 year, one a week.
Okay.
And it is a process which needs to develop the personality. Okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you. Girls, any other questions you have? Afra? Afra?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you have any question, ma'am?
Ma'am, what, sir, I'm sorry, sir. What age groups would it be the most useful to?
The voice is very difficult to understand. Can you ask again, please?
Yeah, what age groups would it be most suited to?
Sir, am I audible now? Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, the question that she asked was, what age is suitable for psychodrama?
You mean which problems with illnesses?
Yes, yes. Any specific age like adolescence or late adulthood?
You can do psychodrama methods with all ages, but the therapist must have special training and must have special experience. For example, working with children, you need other abilities than working with old people. And working with real heavy psychic illnesses, depression, psychosis, you need a very special experience in doing that. So I think it is not depending on psychodrama, what you can do with it, which therapy you can do. It is depending on the specialization of the therapist, on his experience.
Okay, sir, thank you. We have one more question in the chat box. Is
Mhm.
mirroring equal to role play? Is it similar? In what ways mirroring is different from role play?
Role playing is one of the methods in psychodrama, but you have much more different methods. Role playing is important, but you play the role in a special way with special rules. You cannot just play the role like a theater role. You have to play the role as the protagonist tells you about how the role is to play, how the role is, and you have to imitate it and to to uh, um, to realize the role playing out of the view of the protagonist. So you have about 200 different methods in psychodrama, and role playing is one of the important methods.
Okay, sir. Any other important methods similar to role play?
Yeah, so-called doubling.
Doubling.
Yeah, that means
Okay.
that a group member can come to the scene and can double a special role. Means standing beside the role player and behave like the role player and is talking to him, to her, in the way like he would be the role player himself. And then they start communication. It is doubling the role. And important is the communication between them.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Um, on to Afra.
Yes, sir. Um, I'd like to thank our chief guest, Dr. Hans Werner Gessman,
Yeah.
for taking the time to hold a session on humanistic psychodrama and for enlightening us on your experiences. Thank you, sir. A very pleasant evening to all present here. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. It is a privilege to post the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion. My heartfelt thanks to our management, our beloved Principal Dr. S. Sridevi, our respected Vice Principal Dr. R. Meenakshi, and the Head of Department of Psychology, my sister Elima Zahra, for organizing this international conference. I would also like to thank all the faculty members and all those who helped make this day happen. And last but not the least, I'd like to thank the audience for the interaction. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Afra. Thank you so much for your enlightening session, sir. Thank you so much for joining.
Ja, bitte sehr.
Yes, sir. We will wind up the session now.